Right, here we go. Let's go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Now, this is gonna be basically my very first live stream on Skills Reacts channel. Now, we did a couple in the beginning just to make sure everything was working, but yeah, this is gonna be our very first reaction Skills Reacts live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Let's get into it. We got some things to show you guys, and I wanted to talk about some things. Basically, what we're going to be talking about today is the 3i Atlas, this interstellar object that is just speeding through our solar system. Okay, now it's not coming directly towards Earth. It has a weird trajectory, and it seems to be making little changes as it goes. Okay, well, anyway, we're gonna look at a few different headlines. We're gonna look at all the different stuff that people have been saying, and we're gonna see if we can come up with our own conclusion to see whether or not we think it is a UFO, like a lot of people, even scientists, are implying that it could be, or just another comet or something that we don't even understand from another star system. Either way, we're gonna look into it. Let's check it out. If you guys like this type of content, make sure you guys drop a like, leave a comment, and all that good stuff. All right, so let's go into it here. Let me see what we got. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna show you is this is actual footage of 3i Atlas, right? Let's just play this a couple times. And did you guys see how much faster it's going than any of these other stars? You see, all these other star systems are moving, but this is a lot closer and a lot faster. So we're gonna play that a couple times just so you guys can get an idea of what they're seeing. Okay, as you see, it seems to be creating its own light. Okay, now we got Neil deGrasse talking about it. We got a Backyard Professor talking about it. We got everybody, all the YouTubers talking about it. So we are definitely going to be taking a look at this object and seeing what the heck it really is. Now, we're going to look at some of these different crazy headlines that they have. Okay, Sky at Night magazine says right here, brand new image of the interstellar comet 3i Atlas shows it's becoming more active and getting longer as it approaches the sun. So it seems to be changing colors and getting brighter, even though it's moving away from the sun. Okay. New images of the interstellar comet 3i Atlas shows it's becoming more active as its tail is getting longer as it makes its way through our inner solar system. The image was captured by both astronomers and students working together with the Gemini South Telescope at Cerro Patron in Chile. So the Atlas telescope, basically it's a survey telescope. They captured it in Chile July 1st. Okay, so that's when it was first detected, is July 1st of 2025. Okay, and this video is 9/15/2025. Okay, so let's see what we know so far. Comet 3i Atlas was discovered on July 1st, 2025 by Atlas Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System Survey Telescope in Rio Hurtado, Chile. It's an interstellar comet, meaning it's formed around a distant star in deep space. A vast majority of comets we observed in the sky originated from within our solar system, but 3i Atlas is only the third known comet to have originated beyond our solar system. So this is only the third object, whatever it is, to come into our solar system that ain't bound by our solar system, that ain't bound by our sun. So our solar system goes like this, it spins, right? This thing is flying right through, shoom, right? It's gonna be coming in and going out, and it's just gonna be gone. Okay, so we're gonna show you guys the trajectory of this object in 1 second. Let's see what else we got to say here. See observations. Okay, the Gemini South says that it's growing a tail. Observations with Gemini South Telescope on 2027 or 2025, the 27th, revealed a prominent tail and glowing comma emanating from 3i Atlas. I thought they said they weren't seeing a tail. You see, the different headlines say different things. So make sure you guys take everything with a grain of salt. This shows 3i Atlas has become more active as it travels through our inner solar system. Okay, we already know that. So these are some more pictures of it. See, it's not like anything else. You see that? And it's going so fast through our solar system, which is crazy. What the fuck is that? Is that it right there? A deep image of interstellar comet 3i Atlas captured by the Gemini multi-object spectrograph, a Gemini South in Caro, Chile, 27th of August 2025. Credit International Gemini Observatory. So that's the picture of it. That's insane. Okay, so we got that right, and then we got some other ones that are saying, like, check this one out. By World News, Manhattan-sized interstellar object 3i Atlas could release mini probes that hit Earth, experts warn. Where do they get this information that it's gonna release probes? How would they know that it's gonna release probes? How would they know that? There's no. Okay, so we got Avi Loeb. This is a professor from Harvard, as everybody already knows, and he's basically saying that all of its weird anomalies are really looking like it's artificial. Okay, it's not outgassing, it's not doing any things that normal comets would do, supposedly. So the Ivy League astrophysicists appeared together on a podcast called the Both Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, the Jupiter-Juno probe, to adjust their current courses and monitor the object that NASA has deemed a comet. If we are visited by a technological object like 3i Atlas, it could either visit us or release some mini probes that arrive to Earth and appear as UAPs, Loeb told the Soy Foundation. Oh, so that's where they're getting their information. He's just saying that it's possibility that it could be something just probing and looking at our galaxy. It could be another civilization just looking into our solar system. It could be a rock flying through. It could be a broken planet that just escaped its orbit. It could be anything. It could be anything. There's so much stuff out there. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. After all this, let's look into some more stuff here. I asked the research team to monitor the sky after October when 3i Atlas comes close to the sun, just to check if there's any additional activity in the atmosphere of the Earth as a result of its releasing maybe mini probes. What? Luna, the chairman of the House Classification Task Force, has previously urged NASA to exert Uno orbital spacecraft currently outside of Jupiter seize the opportunity, the motor nearby the pathway of 3i Atlas. In the event that there is life, it is not our obligation to inform the public on that, Luna asked rhetorically on the podcast. What? We're actually going to basically the president to ask if we can access programs. Okay, yeah, that's talking about that. That's a whole nother thing. Look, there's another image of it. So this thing is just insane, you guys. Now, this is one of the things. Now, I personally believe in remote viewing and believe that it could actually show a lot of data and info on reality. Okay. Now, multiple groups of remote viewers have looked at this object, and it's not it's not good. It's not good. All right. So we got to check and see what the remote viewers aspect of it is. So this is by John Adams, August 20th. Adventures in Remote Viewing, right? They did it on September 5th. 3i Atlas Remote Viewing. Introduction. 3i Atlas is the third confirmed interstellar object discovered, according to NASA. It is classified as an interstellar comet because of its orbit and because its orbit's hyperbolic, which meaning it's not bound by the sun. So yeah, it'll be merely passing through. Some astronomers have highlighted unusual characteristics of 3i Atlas that have sparked debate about its true nature. Yeah, so it's very anomalous. It's not doing anything that a normal comet would do. Okay. When we look into the remote viewing data, it shows some very interesting things. The object highly energetic trajectory and inclination traveling almost perpendicular to the plane of our solar system, coupled with its close passage with 3 planets in our solar system: Jupiter, Mars, and Venus. So the way that it's going directly in a straight line near these 3 planets is not normal. It's not something that a normal comet wouldn't do. So as we see a lot of different stuff here, I want to show you guys what he says on remote viewing. Okay, motion and behavior. These are the different things that they remote viewed right here. Descriptions include structural in nature. It has a fuselage hull. It is part of a biological and artificial. It is artificial asteroid. Artificial asteroid. You see that? Now this is coming from Adventures in Remote Viewing, right? John Adams. Remote viewing object 3i Atlas. This report analyzes multiple independent remote viewing sessions conducted on the target 3i Atlas, target 7748-3050. During August 2025, six experienced remote viewers participated in blind sessions, producing an extraordinary level of convergent data. The consistency of specific technical details, sensory perceptions, and higher level data across independent sessions suggest genuine anomalous activity with feedback expected. So basically they're saying this thing, they're seeing multiple people all remote viewing, seeing the same thing, getting back the same data. Okay, which is saying that it's part artificial, it's part biologic, which means it's something like AI or something like that, something that's part alive and part mechanical, right? So let's see what else the remote viewing data says. Okay, to be verified at some level, 3i Atlas 3i Atlas's close solar approach in late October 2025. While the data is compelling, we must acknowledge that multiple outcomes are possible and that the data might be skewed, exaggerated, or attributed to viewing specific aspects of the collective unconscious, among other things. So basically, you can't take it as 100% accurate. That's what it is. But the fact that everybody that's looking at this object is getting back the same type of data is a little bit contributing to the aspect of it being artificial or being whatever the data is saying it is, right? So let's see our physical characteristics. Well, let's go. Okay, the project overview. They showed the target designation, the verification and timeline. The methodology was blind remote viewing sessions. Okay, viewers: Patricia A., John Dixon, John Millard, Becca Nilsson, David Powell, and Gemma Warner. Okay, physical characteristics: primary colors blue, white, green. Primary colors are blue, white, green, reported by 5 out of 6 viewers to be blue, white, and green. Secondary colors: red, orange, yellow, brown, black, purple, pale, and opaque. Spherical or circular elements, consistent across all sessions. So it's spherical, it's like a circle or circular thing. Linear geometric components, reported by all viewers to be linear, geometric, and has components. Size variations from small to large proportions, curved spiral patterns, vortex vertices. Universal characteristics, consistent across all sessions. Every viewer described a combination of biological and artificial elements. See that right there? That the fact that everybody's picking up biological and artificial elements is just insane. Descriptions include structural in nature. It has a fuselage hole. It's part biological and artificial. And it's part biological and artificial asteroid, having a shell or shell-like outside, slimy gel-like plasma, liquid glowing, sparkling, radiating electrical discharge, static, buzzing, pulsing, sonar, metallic, porcelain. Now these are all the things that the remote viewers are getting back. Okay, that is just insane. Lateral movements across fast, high energy, circular objects, objects that are flat and moving very fast, wants to preserve or hide itself as some kind of rock or boulder. Multi-dimensional, time relative, may be hiding until the right time to be discovered. Shadowing, mirroring. There may be a spray generated in front going backwards, self-propelling with kinetic energy. What the fuck? See all this shit? This is crazy, bro. This is crazy what the hell they are thinking. So we're gonna go to one of the remote viewers and actually hear what he has to say about this, right? So we're gonna go over here to, no, not Neil deGrasse, where's he at? Right here. Okay, this podcast called Metaphysical on YouTube, right? Metaphysical has one of the remote viewers on there, and he's explaining the very data that I am talking to you and bringing to you in that
path through the galaxy. Why it's not moving like anything else in the solar system.
There it is.
I think how this originally went down is that a telescope in Chile saw Atlas. Then Avi Loeb from Harvard, the Harvard scientist, started to really talk.
Look at that. Hold on.
I think how this originally went down is that a telescope.
Let's look at the trajectory. So this is 3i Atlas, right? And this is its trajectory right here. So as Mars goes around, right, or it's probably going this way, goes around, it's gonna close up and line up right next to Mars, okay, at this point right here. And it's gonna get so close to Mars, it's actually closer than Mars's moons.
In Chile saw Atlas.
Yeah, so
then
it is
Avi
moving
Loeb
that way.
From Harvard, the Harvard scientist, started to really talk a lot more about this, because this is the third anomalous interstellar object coming into our solar system. He's pretty level-headed when he's talking about this thing. I mean, you know, he has his own scale. It's called the Loeb scale.
The Loeb scale.
He puts this as a 4 on the Loeb scale of threat. I guess you could say of a threat. He said, given the latest data on 3i Atlas, I rank it so far as 4 on the Loeb scale of interstellar technological threats that ranges between 0 and 10. Now, this is the example that's pretty interesting. Having a 40% chance for an accident while crossing the street argues in favor of keeping our eyes open and monitoring an approaching car. When you think about it like that, and the fact that this thing is flying through space towards us, towards the sun, at a very, very fast space, I mean, we're talking about 41 miles per second. This thing is traveling.
And 41
All right.
miles per second, chat. Not only that, but it's literally the size of Manhattan, give or take. That is big. That is big. Big enough to cause some type of reoccurring action, right? Within our solar system, if it hits or does anything in our solar system, I mean, that can cause an effect, a pretty big effect. That's something that size. That's way bigger than any comet or asteroid that we've ever seen, ever.
And it's traveling too fast to be bound by the sun's gravity. So let me go through some of this data on Atlas. Okay, so the objects, it's called coma, is dominated by carbon dioxide, not water vapor, which is usually the case for comets in our solar system.
That's weird.
So the CO2 compared to water is about 8-to-1 of the highest ratios ever seen in any comet. It's the largest interstellar object ever detected.
The largest interstellar object ever detected. Ever. See what I'm saying? That's just insane, bro. That's insane. And it's
Avi Loeb marks this as a potential threat in a blog post. Okay, and this is what he says. We should always keep in mind the possibility of a Trojan horse that appears as a rock from the outside, but carries sophisticated technologies in its belly. The way to unravel its nature would be to detect the heat or artificial signals emitted by its engine, or to notice unusual maneuvers. When the discussion of 3i Atlas became viral, several of my colleagues chose to throw cold water at the public's interest, arguing based on very preliminary data that 3i Atlas must be a comet. The truth is that science is work in progress, where multiple interpretations must be entertained in order to motivate data collection. Insisting that 3i Atlas must be a comet is unwise because it does not exhibit a cometary tail, and its trajectory is fine-tuned to align with the...
You see, what they're saying is this is showing no characteristics of it being a comet, okay? And the way that it's moving, it's carefully adjusting itself to go along that specific route right next to our 3 planets in our solar system. Okay, it's very specific route, and it's making small changes every 15 minutes. It makes an outgas pulse every 15 minutes. Nothing ever has recorded doing that. Never. Outgasses are always very spontaneous and chaotic. This is outgassing every 15 minutes on the dot. Crazy shit, right?
Orbital plane
Seems
of the
to be
planets
artificial
around
to me.
the sun.
Imagine bringing your side
I want you to hear what the remote viewer has to say.
Base 44.
So my understanding is that this thing is...
This guy right here on the left side is the remote viewer. He's one of the main remote viewers for that I guess program or company or whatever you want to call it.
Coming at us at a very, very fast pace. At the very least, if you think about how large space out there is, this thing is like right next to us. If this is a craft, if this is some type of intelligence, this thing is like sitting next to someone on the bus.
Yeah, it's very close.
Very close.
Even though it's not headed directly for us, it could just change directions and come and land on ours after Mars. Who's to say it don't?
What if this is something that we don't understand? What if there is some technology in the belly of this thing, right?
Right, because it's exhibiting physical characteristics and movement that is unlike anything that they know of in the physics of dead space, or the physics of how space reacts to objects, right?
Yeah, and you know, we've been showing this.
Dead objects, they're only like moved and controlled by gravitational and solar energetic forces. Nothing else.
Everything's dead.
They're not complying to that. So
yeah, that's what they want us to think.
And you saw that photo and I'm sure we brought it up in the episode earlier, but the photo of the lights, right?
See, that's
looks
it
like
moving.
Starlink for the galaxy. I mean, have you ever seen
That's it,
Starlink
moving from
satellites
left to
going
right.
by
That's a
above
picture
you?
of the
They're all in
movement,
a
not of
row
the
and they're just
actual
traveling,
object.
you know,
Right.
right above you. The colors are very strange too, because you've got some type of pattern here. You know, it's going from blue to green to red and blue to green to red and blue. So
Okay,
there's
so this is basically what we're looking at here is movement of the object, right? And so like, because the stars in the background are static and they're very far away, so you're not going to really see their movement, but you are going to notice movement of something that's much closer. And so this thing is moving.
at first I thought it was a static image of just whatever that thing is. It's very long, but then I realized that, like you said, that they're taking a photo of it moving. Here's another image that NASA just released, which is honestly pretty
Whoa.
embarrassing. It looks
Infrared.
like the eye of my favorite video game character in Nintendo or something.
Well, what spectrum is this? That's what it is. This is not a visible light photograph, is it? This looks to be some kind of spectrum that's being represented.
Say that again, Lindsay.
It's infrared.
Infrared.
Oh, IR. Okay. Got it. So IR is going to like show different frequency than that other photograph if that other photograph is visible light. And so I think this might be pretty standard.
Then there is also a video showing all of the stars being static and this thing moving across the sky that Avi Loeb has kind of shown in different places.
It moves on a trajectory that is very unusual. It is aligned with the orbit of the Earth around the sun, and it will get extremely close to the inner planets, like, for example, Jupiter, Mars, or Venus. It will arrive closest to the sun when the Earth is on the opposite side, so we won't be able to look at it. And that's the point where a spacecraft could make a maneuver to slow down. And it's coming from the direction of the Milky Way galaxy, the center of the Milky Way galaxy, where the sky is very crowded with stars. So that's why it took a while to notice it.
Wow.
And altogether,
came from the center of the
chance
galaxy.
of this trajectory is less than 0.2% to be aligned with the orbit of the Earth around the sun, less than 1 part in 20,000 to arrive so close to the other planets. And one wonders, could it be a design trajectory? And
there it is.
Saying that we know, but I'm saying that we need to collect more data to figure out the nature of this object. And if it turns out to be a comet, if it's surrounded by a beautiful cometary tail that is glowing in the sunlight as it gets closer to the sun, so be it. But from now on, the Rubin Observatory in Chile will discover a new interstellar object every few months. And my point is, we should check whether any of these objects might be technological in origin, because it's a security risk.
Basically, he's saying that we don't know if there's a tail on it or not. There might be a tail, there might not. There's no tail now, which is a little confounding, but there could be, right? And so if they determine there to be a tail, that means what? It's outgassing and it's just a natural object. Okay.
Yeah, but scarier than that I think he brought up is that this thing is heading right towards us. It's gonna pass Jupiter, potentially pass Mars, potentially get close to Venus, while Earth is on the other side of the sun, when that would be the point at which a craft would make a maneuver.
Right. I mean, do you remember back in the 90s, the whole Hale-Bopp thing?
Yeah, we've done multiple shows.
Hale-Bopp was another one. That's the one they said
going into extreme details on that.
And they were showing it was a comet with something behind it in the comet.
That traveled through space that came through our solar system. It had a tail. Comet had a tail to it. There was nothing necessarily unnatural about Hale-Bopp itself, except for something in the tail that was following it. So big, harder object.
And this is the remote viewer. Remember, the one on the left is the remote viewer. And he's going to tell us some crazy information here in a second.
Photographs of the thing in the tail, and as well as
I want you to hear what he says about Hale-Bopp first, though, because Hale-Bopp was in the 90s, right, the late 90s, and this thing, it was a regular comet, right? It was showing regular comet shit, you know what I mean? Outgassing tail, all that. But the weird thing is, the anomalous thing was that there was a hard object behind the tail of the comet, right? and this is what they remote viewed. So he'll speak on that here in a second. Watch.
University astrophysics department, I think in Hawaii or something. Lots of remote viewers tackled it. And every single remote viewing session was that this was a craft within the tail of this comet that was basically just with it, sort of in its drift zone or something like that, that was moving with it. And that there were non-human intelligences on board this thing, and they were doing all sorts of things. I don't remember exactly what they were doing. When that happened, like all this data goes out across the internet at that time, and it just created this huge uproar.
What
because
did he just say?
Back then, people weren't so used to this idea, and especially in the burgeoning, brand new remote viewing community, it was somewhat of a threat because that was telling remote viewers that they can go now and remote view things that are truly anomalous, things of the highest classification. And so there was an operation to shut down this type of thinking and exploration with remote viewers. Now, revisiting this later, there was a paper that came out from an MIT scientist not long after that, that fully went into this artificial type object that was in the tail of the comet. It was not a regular object.
The tail's
like this
facing
current
on
object.
3i Atlas. The tail's facing the wrong way. It's going this way, and the tail's facing that way. That's weird as hell. That means
They're
it's probably
not
creating its
complying
own
to the physics of our
its own
solar
light,
system.
its own energy.
This thing in the tail was not complying to the physics of the solar system nor the comet, right? And so this was all gone into in this paper. And then again, it was remote viewed after all the massive public shaming events on the remote viewers looking at this and all the nonsense. It was remote viewed again, over and over. And again, the same data came back over and over. A ship, a craft, artificially constructed in the tail of this comet, non-human intelligence is controlling, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this stuff happens, man. This stuff happens all the time. But our society and those people who are in the control position of our society, even when it comes to remote viewing, want to control the direction of thought with it, want to control what people do with it, and don't want people to be believing these things. So I find it very curious that these major news organizations would be placing this man in a position of like saying, it could be aliens, right?
Yeah.
From flight,
Dang.
I'm on my way.
And you know what's crazy is right now, out of all the times, right now when supposedly Project Bluebeam and all this other stuff, just weird that right now, all of a sudden now we have a comet heading towards us, right? Or we have an object heading towards us. It's very sus.
On YouTube, that's all about Richard Doty and all of the fakery and agents that interfere with UFO disclosure and all of that stuff. And since this came out, since the photo first appeared, that colored one, I've just been like, why are they having us talk about this? Why are they allowing this out? Is it just that it's meeting some type of quota of controlled information that they put out every year? Is it distracting from something else going on? Too hard to keep a cap on because of the way that it unraveled? You know, because the discussions that they're having are still
look
very
how close it's
surface
going to get to
discussions.
Mars. You see that?
The news agencies are still using it a bit more sensationally to try to drive traffic and to get more people talking about it and buzzing around about it. Everything that's taking place on the surface is somewhat normal, but the object itself is still
I
quite
want you to hear what he says about the remote
fact
viewing
that
part.
it could be something. The fact that there have been 3 interstellar objects that have entered our solar system over the last 10 years. I agree with you. I think they're up to something, but then at the same time, it could just be that this meets the quota of allowable things that they allow or that they let us discuss. Otherwise, it might even be stranger, you know?
Right. Well,
this is sort of a nothing burger.
Right.
It's
right.
Unless this thing kills us, it's sort of a nothing burger.
True.
Right.
True.
Right. So it could be a catastrophic disclosure. You know, catastrophic disclosure is when the governments, those in control, are faced with something so huge that everybody can see that they're not in control of that disclosure, right? So this could be a way to capture catastrophic disclosure, or to use, I mean, you know, got the idea of like aliens are invading, you know, the government wants to create this scenario, or, you know, they could use it for something like that, or it could be just the fact that they want to just distract everybody, you know.
But John, think about it from this perspective. You know,
the laser pointer.
Yeah, you know the story you just gave about Hale-Bopp, the example that you gave? This is just discussion about Hale-Bopp. It's not discussion about what's in its trail. If this were a discussion about what was in its trail, it would get shut down right away. But because this thing is so sort of surface, and it's just like, oh, it's a cool interstellar object, let's talk about the math. You know,
right.
Because of that whole thing, it's just,
that's true.
Again, it's like, it's not talking about the black ship in the tail. It's
right, exactly.
Just an object. It's just a rock. It's it's, you know, let's take some different cool photos of it, and nothing.
Yeah, but you have the scientists, the scientists saying that it might not be a rock.
But okay, you brought up the scale earlier, the Kardashev scale.
Yep, Kardashev scale.
We still have that scale. I mean, scientists have been talking about this stuff for a really long time. That's still following that track.
Okay, if you guys don't know what the Kardashev scale is, basically the Kardashev scale is the different types of civilizations in the universe. So basically us, we're type 0, right? This type 0. Other one would be like type 1 or type 2, type 3, right? Which is type 2 would be basically it would be able to get energy from its own planet, control the energy from its own planet. Type 3 would be able to control the energy within the whole atmosphere. I mean, being able to control asteroids, black holes, everything within the galaxy, right? You'd be able to use it to our advantage, right? So that's kind of like the Kardashev scale. So we would be type 0, and then, you know, type 1 would be, like I said, where it controls its own energy from it uses the energy from its star, right? And that's kind of like the Kardashev scale.
Going beyond, I mean, why are they talking about Dyson spheres still? They'll like see something far off that doesn't make sense, an anomaly in the sky, and they're like, this could be a type 3 or type 2 civilization that has a
right,
Dyson
and they're harnessing they've got a Dyson sphere around a star, and they're harnessing the energy. And I remember those photographs,
right?
And then that whole idea pushed forward. Actually, we had remote viewed that, and it was just an optical illusion.
Totally,
it wasn't anything like that.
No, but they'll still talk about this stuff. And what I think is so funny is, as cool as it is that we have the Kardashev scale, how far off could that scale be? It could be light years off what's really going on out there and how the technology really works. It's just a theory too. And I seriously doubt that if a civilization had the technology to create a Dyson sphere, that they would actually do it, because they'd have way easier ways of creating energy.
Coming from this idea of such a limited human perspective. And then, you know, think about like within all the experiences that people have on the repeating experiences with different types of beings, and how different they are from humans, how you have some human-like, how you have ones that are even blobs. How would they think? How would they approach reality? And how can you even place the human construct? You could only place it within the realm of the human here, but not on anything else, because their experience is wildly different.
Yeah, way different.
Their genetics would be wildly different, most likely. No, he's also going off of physics, what he perceives, what they perceive as being the physics that rule the universe. But this stuff's getting broken all the time, right? And then scientists are like, well, we don't know why physics is breaking here. Like, this thing currently coming is not necessarily conforming to physics. So either it is just a different type of object that is in a different physics flow that they've never realized or seen or measured before, or it's an alien ship. or it's a missile, or I don't know.
Sheesh. All right, let's see what the remote viewing data.
X-Tool just stirred up some
Come
drama in the
on,
laser
dang
world.
commercials.
This is the F2 Ultra, the world's first.
All
All
here
right,
we
so
go.
John, I'm imagining you had a little bit of time to have this thing remote viewed. So what?
Yeah,
I know it's a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
Woo!
I'd rather postulate and kind of circle my finger around it than actually point to it, because it's like, all right, we live in this bubble on this planet. The bubble is so tight, so constricted.
This is the remote viewing data, you guys. Pay attention to what he's saying. He's saying it's so out there that he doesn't even want to say it because it's going to make him look crazy. He doesn't even want to beat around the bush because it's going to make him look crazy. But this is what the data is implying. Not just one person's data, multiple people, all different blind session, remote viewing sessions, and all getting back similar data.
Strained. People people believe only what their authorities tell them, and the screens that the authorities are telling them through, that they're looking at, are the method of control, of thought, of understanding, of everything. The world, what's outside of this, has got nothing to do with what they tell you. Nothing. And I know people are starting to open up and expand to this because the government is playing a little bit of theater game with them at the moment. And so I think people are maybe a little bit more ready to grasp onto an edge of it. Now, these are things that I have known for a very long time, being in the position that I've been in. I will just tell you that the data that we have on this current object is that it is an unnatural object. It's controlled by a specific type of being who are with that object, who are moving towards this area or location because there's something going on just outside of us that is, I would just say, sort of in contention with other groups that don't have to do with humans directly, but have to do with humans as the cavemen on the planet who are waving their sticks at it, and the resource on the planet that they perceive them as. If people have watched our episodes before, we have...
What the hell? Did you guys just hear that? Did you guys hear what the data said? Hold on. I gotta listen to that again. I'm not sure I heard that right.
Outside of us, that is time, being in the position that I've been in. I will just tell you that the data that we have on this current object is that it is an unnatural object. It's controlled by a specific type of being who are with that object, who are moving towards this area or location because there's something going on just outside of us that is, I would just say, sort of in contention with other groups that don't have to do with humans directly, but have to do with humans as the cavemen on the planet who are waving their sticks at it, and the resource on the planet that they perceive them as. If people have watched our episodes before, we have gotten a lot of...
Make sure you guys go check out Metaphysical.
Out there that are battle related with different species, with remote viewing. A lot of people have spoken about this too. Other remote viewers have looked at this too. And we're talking about big projects. We're not talking about like just singular remote viewers. We're talking about big projects with analysis. And we have one of these situations where there is contention, where there are different races of beings who are wanting, needing, trying to control different aspects of the caveman planet, of what they perceive as theirs. So so that's what the data was implying. It was literally about these other beings coming in because they're in a fight with ones that are like here as well over this space. And that's what we're seeing in the data with this.
You know what surprises me most on the job? How many drivers I stop who don't even have auto insurance.
Hearing that shit?
Can't really blame them.
Is anybody else as stoked as I am? Like, this is crazy, bro. And you realize that they use remote viewing to find missing people, missing objects. They use remote viewing to solve murder cases. They use, even the CIA, the FBI, they all use remote viewing and have projects that they've used before in the past. So there is truth to this remote viewing.
What, I'm just curious if you have this information, but are the beings that are on this ship more humanoid like us, or are these full on like?
Talk about this. It starts with the R word.
Oh,
which I'm not going to let spill out of my mouth.
No, we don't have to say that word.
Then we go down into like this other zone, and it's like, no, okay, so the R word on the other side, they're sort of like lighter skin humanoids, right? Lighter skin
that are battling these things.
That are, yeah.
Or battling.
Yeah. Look, you know, as absurd as it sounds, and as like, so there have been a lot of people out there. Look, to say the R word is one of those things that places you into the category of just
batshit crazy,
insane,
crazy.
Right? Yeah, and so, but the thing is that does exist. They do exist, right? It's just that people have turned it into crazy, and the media has turned it into crazy. So the moment it comes out of your mouth, everybody's trained to go, "You're crazy," right?
Yeah, the disinformation agents just get a hold of that, and they just make it crazy.
Right. So there's something going on here, and there's some kind of like stepped plan with this thing that's coming. And now I don't know. I couldn't tell you if it like has anything to do with actually hitting the Earth. Probably not. I mean, this thing could just like go and just pass on by, but something did happen. In that process of going and passing by, it probably did or would do something that we wouldn't really even notice on the human scale. And then everybody just go, oh, it was a big nothing burger. But it is part of some type of thing that's going on in a confrontation between these various groups just outside our realm here.
Why do you think we haven't detected more interstellar objects, or have we and they just don't talk about them?
Well, I think that there's definitely there would definitely be cover-ups around that kind of stuff. But when the thing is that, so what I think what we're kind of looking at, what we'd be looking at with these large objects is it gets into the realm of catastrophic disclosure. There are enough telescopes around that people can see them, and they will talk about them, and the media will jump on it because it's there, right? Because they've already got the imagery of it. And we're talking about an astrophysicist or an astronomer who's seeing it.
So
this
true.
Places it in a whole different category than me in my backyard, you know, yelling and screaming about something.
We have 3 anomalous intergalactic objects that.
Now that's what I wanted to show you guys. It's just how crazy that is, bro. That is just insane. I'm going to show you guys some of what Neil deGrasse says. Now, Neil deGrasse does not believe that it is aliens.
3 objects have been found in the last decade, okay? 3 of them. And they've had some anomalous features. Fun. I love it. The first of these, Oumuamua, discovered with telescopes in Hawaii. That's a Hawaiian word for first scout, basically. So that, as it came through the solar system, we said, all right, we know what trajectory an object with that speed and that direction coming in should take as it rounds the sun. Then there was the actual trajectory, which was different.
Dang.
Whoa. Well, comets have a way of outgassing when they get near the sun, and that puts an extra little sort of force on their arc of motion that has them move in ways that are not purely gravitational. And that's true for all comets. So we said maybe that's outgassing. But suppose you look and there's no outgassing. So what's going on? Well, that's fun.
How is it moving? Yeah.
We don't understand it. Not initially. So what's your first thought? Is it aliens? That could be. Like I said, it's not my first thought. I promise you, it will be my last thought. But it's not in the list. It's in the list. It's just way down based on the history of trying to understand things that we don't understand. We have 2 more objects that have come through, and they have some weird properties. The brightness, the rotation rate.
Yep.
And so they don't match some of our models for what comets and asteroids should do. Whatever anomalous behavior these objects exhibit, I'm delighted that they're finally in the catalog, and we'll figure it out one day, maybe. And while my first thought is not that it's aliens, I promise you that is one of my thoughts, but it'll be last on the list. It's easier for me to recognize.
You see, so he's saying he doesn't want to automatically jump to aliens like everybody else, but it is showing some anomalous features that we should pay attention to. And just because we don't understand something doesn't mean we should automatically jump to aliens. The way people back in the day did, they said it was God right away. You know, everything that they didn't understand, it was God, you know. So he doesn't want to make that mistake again, right? In the 21st century.
That interstellar objects are fundamentally different from anything we've studied in the solar system before. So we have to derive a new understanding of what an object can be as it moves from one star system to the next. It's easier for me to think this is a new kind of object.
It could literally be anything.
Way more study than we've given it thus far, than to say aliens did it.
All right, so that's Neil deGrasse. Let's take another look at its trajectory over here. So name 3i Atlas. This is a comet. This comet is the 3rd ever interstellar visitor to our solar system. Okay, so look at its trajectory. It's going to be moving this way. And as our 3 planets, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, go in a line, it's going to go right by all of them and closest to Mars. An alien emissary? Avi Loeb, a somewhat notorious Harvard science professor, was quick to jump on the story of 3i Atlas only days after it was first sighted. He was questioned whether it was a comet or something else. 2 weeks after finding out about it, he released a preprint, meaning it has not been formally published or peer-reviewed, paper raising the possibility that comet was alien in origin. He outlined several key points. These points include the fact that the orbital plane of 3i Atlas was very close to Earth's within 5 degrees, which he felt was an astounding coincidence. Second, the object seemed to extremely large, over 20 kilometers in diameter, which is bigger than anything we've ever seen in space, which is vanishingly rare for a comet. There was also the fact that it was going to pass near Venus, Jupiter, and Mars, which he again cited that is very unlikely coincidence. Finally, he claimed that there wasn't good evidence for a cometary gas trail we expect from a comet. There's no outgassing comet tail. Relying on the dark forest solution to the famous Fermi paradox, Loeb has gone on to suggest that the intelligence behind 3i Atlas may be malicious and planning on targeting Earth. Its path worked out so that it would pass behind the sun, hiding from the Earth, and at the exact point where it would use the sun's gravity to swing back around towards Earth and presumptuously to destroy us all. Bro, what the fuck are they talking about, bro? He's been publishing blogs. Okay. He's saying it's possible. It could be a threat. Saying it could be some type of alien ship. Yeah, so it's just crazy. Let's take a look at this object one more time. Even the backyard professor was talking about it. And
lost 10 out of 10
I understand
times.
completely what he's saying.
Previously, when it was mentioned that it's really tiny little bugs we can't even see that gives us so many of our sicknesses, people were being killed for saying that because
Yeah, they're talking about how everybody said it was God back in the day.
3I Atlas images, the whole world is alarmed. Holy cow!
I didn't know we were alarmed.
Did you know you're alarmed? You're part of the world, right? Since this hacker released the images of the Atlas comet, you are alarmed. You didn't even know that, did you?
I didn't know.
I'm alarmed. I'm horrible.
I didn't know I was alarmed. Damn, bro. Anyway, shout out to Backyard Professor, yo. I will be doing more streams like this. Make sure you guys leave a comment, drop a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of 3I Atlas. Do you think it's UFO? Do you think it could possibly be a UFO? Or do you think it's just another comet that's going to pass on by? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!